My name is Ayuno Nakahashi. I am a postdoc at the German Primate Center in Göttingen. This is my going into a second year of postdoc, and I study decision making, how our brain makes decisions. When I saw Fast Forward being offered, I was just starting my postdoc. I still knew that there will be the PhD project going on at the same time. So I had the time that I was doing PhD. I finished the PhD, postdoc starting, but in my field, it's very common that even after you finish the program for the PhD, you still continue working on the same project so that we can get more publications. So I saw the overlap between the PhD project happening still after and postdoc new projects starting. And in other words, I have to juggle two major projects. And I knew I needed some kind of a tool to not get overwhelmed and be not just productive, but happy about what I was working on when I was juggling those two projects. And then the Fast Forward came to my eyes and saying, here's a project management workshop that will teach you how to manage projects. And that was exactly what I needed to have. I would say the first one that I really liked or that I really value and still continue using is the concept of the frog and eating it first thing in the morning. There are things that I really like to do once I started doing so, but until I start doing that task, I have such large inertia that it almost never happens. And I keep telling myself, I'll do it when I have enough time to start. It really helps me procrastinate very well. But being told that if you have something like eating a frog, which you probably don't really enjoy, but if you have that, do it first in the morning. I can actually make time eating the frog instead of keep telling myself or keep giving myself an excuse that I don't have enough time to even start working on it. So that's the first one, the eating the frog or the frog. That at the end of the day, even if everything else didn't really go well, I can say at least, but I ate the frog, or I ate a leg of a frog, for example. So that's one thing I really valued having learned from taking Fast Forward. There are other things, and the second thing is to know the one thing, and I probably wouldn't be quoting it perfectly, but knowing the one thing that such that if you do it, it makes everything else easier or irrelevant. I used to I'm still doing a to-do list, which just keeps growing day by day. And my strategy of going through the to-do list was just from top to bottom, because it's the chronological order, more or less, that I realized I have to do this, this, and this. Later, I realized doing that is also important. So in my mind, it was that like the older things needs to be done because it's been on the list for longer. But the idea of having the one thing getting done that makes everything else easier just changed the way I see this massive to-do list. Because not just to say, because this is important, or this is my priority, or somebody is waiting for this, but looking at the whole list and thinking, what is that thing that makes everything else easier? Irrelevant is a little bit tricky in my field, but if everything else is going to become easier, then I really should do that. And it was really also easy to convince myself that there are many other flashy things that I really want to do because I enjoy doing it, or I get to spend time with my colleagues doing it. But if that's not the one thing that makes everything else easier, probably that's not something I should be doing right now. And that's why that one thing concept really changed the way I see or I plan my day or plan my week or even the sprint, to make sure that the thing that I get done on the day or during the sprint really makes a difference in the longer run. After implementing the tools that I learned and the knowledge that I acquired, well, one thing I really easily noticed is at the end of really bad days, I can still say, but I did it, but I accomplished this or that. Or when really, really, really bad day happens, I can see why that was a bad day. And sometimes it's not necessarily something that I had control over it. And that really helped me think that, or realize that, one, I'm actually trying. Two, sometimes it just doesn't work out, but it's not my fault. Three, therefore, it's not that I'm being bad. I'm just having a bad day. And that really helped me think not lowly of myself, I guess. That, yes, I'm working. And especially with the things that was taught in the fast forward, like finding the really crucial moment or the peak time of my work hours to make sure that I'm doing something that is very important doing something that is very important during the time I have the peak hour, and making sure that it gets done, helps respect myself. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough. And I think really since I took fast forward, I stopped even thinking about the phrase, I'm not good enough. Because I see myself, and looking back also because now I have a record of what I planned that day, what I achieved, and what didn't work out, and how I can make it better. I really see that I'm doing things, and there's nobody that can tell me that I'm not good enough, because look, I have a proof that I'm doing something. And if that's not good enough, maybe that's not where I should be. So I think I really realized about my self-value and respect. Yeah, it helped me respect myself more. So what I liked most about, or what I learned about doing the tutor first, is everybody's struggling more or less in the same way at same things. When I was taking the class, I was not full of myself, but trying to keep up with the assignments or the learning new tools and implementing it so that it sticks to me. Once I became a tutor, then I have a step back view of, still, it's a very common struggle that everybody's going through, including self-worth or self-respect, or feeling that one is not good enough. And what I learned from interacting with the participants is, it's more, surprisingly to me, it's more effective to communicate that it's common by not just saying, yes, it's common, but also saying or sharing my personal experience. And it seems to, I think, make people realize that there are other people going through something different but similar, and to feel that you are not alone. And that's something I also really liked. Other times it was more as simple as, I tried this and it worked, thank you. That kind of comments that I would get from the participants are really, really nice. Because it's during the introduction or initiation, one thing that's said is about the responsible to and responsible for. And it's that back and forth or the catchball of, okay, I'll try to help you, and here are the options, here are the things I can offer. But then at the end of the day, it's up to the participants to take it or learn it or try something different or implement what's being offered. And when they actually do that, then they can really see, and that comes back, if they feel like, to say, thank you, it worked. And that little, I guess it's just a simple line of text that says, it worked. And you can still see through those strings that they really had a good day. That was really nice. The highlight for me was I really got into making perhaps too large or too long reply to certain types of assignment that are submitted at the seminar room in the forum. And one of the participants at the very end of the whole Fast Forward workshop said that, I think it was you who gave me this paragraphs of reply to the, I guess, assignment, or perhaps the week that she was really struggling. And being, how can I say, being seen, I guess, and heard that we care, and it coming back was really touching. The highlight of both taking and both tutoring Fast Forward is the fact that right now, at this moment, we still have an accountability group going on, and we check in every day when we can. We have the weekly, we have the daily check-in, and we have the weekly, the Manic Monday, definitely High Five Friday, on and off WhatsApp Wednesday. And very nice community that really makes you think that, okay, there are other people who are doing something similar in terms of trying to be accountable to ourselves, and also having support. And when somebody's having a bad day or somebody's struggling in the private or personal life, we actually write comments to it on top of the hearts or the reactions. And we also share, yes, I'm also having a bad day, or yes, today is the frog day. And that's really something I think you can only get when you go through kind of a hardship, I would say, of Fast Forward, because it's not the easiest workshop. And to have the real determination to attend, do all the assignments, finish, and continue working on those productivity tools, so that it just makes you a better person. It makes you aware that other people have lives, they're struggling as well, they're trying to do their best. And that just gives, I think, at least it gave me this capacity to be kind to other people who may not otherwise appear as, I guess, struggling as you can imagine, and be compassionate to anybody who may be having a bad day. I guess I'm focusing on the bad day today. That question is simple. I didn't have anything that will stop me, even if the supervisor were to tell me not to, because it will take up too much time, or my partner who actually thought when I was taking the class that I was putting too much time. I knew that that was something I needed. That was something, the tools that the Fast Forward was teaching me, or was going to teach me, was something I didn't have. So in my head, there was nothing that was going to stop me from taking the course. I would say definitely starting PhD students, midway PhD students who are writing thesis, starting postdoc, or people in between PhD and postdoc, early career postdoc. Maybe for some early career investigators or principal investigators, it can also be helpful if they've had no experience of learning this kind of tools before. Especially if they then have to start thinking about multiple projects that you have to overlook because now you have to supervise other people. Yeah, if you are not in academia, I think you can still heavily benefit from learning all the tools that get taught at the Fast Forward.